What is going on, everybody? It's KB. Before the episode starts, make sure you go check out StreamerSZN's brand new theme music. That's right. We have full-time, brand new theme music thanks to the newest homie and newest member of the music side of Underground Sports Philadelphia homies. That is Mobley. Stay Volk. His new single is out now. It is linked in the description on YouTube, and you'll be hearing it on audio until we can figure out if we can play it on video on StreamerSZN episodes from here on out. That's our new theme music. Stay Volk. Go download it now wherever you get your music, and go check out the music video on YouTube. But now, let's get into the episode of StreamerSZN.
Philadelphia, baby, you're gonna love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
Does anybody think it's a coincidence that on the day Secret Invasion has its finale, the U.S. is in court talking about aliens existing?
Ooh.
Coincidence?
Insert the X-Files
not.
music.
What is going on, fellow streamers? Welcome into another edition of StreamerSZN, the exclusive streaming platform, TV and movie podcast on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network. It's KB, it's Dylan, it's Christian. We are back for the Secret Invasion Men finale. We're going to let you guys in on what we've got coming up next. Now that Secret Invasion season is wrapped up, outside of tinfoil hat theories that we have plenty of for tonight's show. And we will also get into everyone's favorite segment, the streaming platform Multiverse News and Notes, brought to you by our awesome pals over at Kenwood Beer. But before we get into that, make sure you guys are following us on the socials. That's Twitter, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, at StreamerSZN Pod on TikTok. You can follow Dylan on Twitter at Dylan Mazzola. Follow Christian at @thewiz_PHI. Follow me at KBIZZL311. Subscribe to the podcast feed, Apple, Spotify, or wherever you decide to consume your podcast from. Leave a 5-star rating and review. It goes a long way for helping this show continue to grow, helps more people find our network of shows. And Dylan, say the line, brother.
The line is that on any of those beautiful sites you just listed off, all bazillion of them, they should be leaving reviews or comments if it's YouTube and letting us know what to watch next. We have all the services besides Kyle still presumably out of Max.
I haven't been able to try yet, but I have the information to hopefully allow me to get back in.
So it's a Max question mark for KB, but everything else is on the books. We need something else because this show just wrapped up. And let us know what you want us to watch next.
And like Dylan said, subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. YouTube.com/@UndergroundSportsPhiladelphia. That's where you get full video episodes of this show, every show on our network. You get clips, shorts, live streams. We're working on some interviews. All that good stuff goes on our YouTube channel, YouTube.com/@UndergroundSportsPhiladelphia. We are currently sitting at 518 subscribers. Need to get to 600 before the end of August. As we dubbed on the main pod earlier this week. If we don't get there, when I ship up to Boston for the PLL quarterfinals, Pat Pitts will be going into the Boston Harbor. And then if we don't get to 1,000 before DJ's birthday, he's got to move to Alaska. So,
Kyle, can we just real talk? Can we just purposefully not reach that first goal so Pat has to go in the Boston Harbor?
No, because I would have to throw him in, and then I would probably be arrested for said incident.
Yeah. For the content, Kyle. For the content.
I also don't know if Pitts would survive the Boston Harbor with whatever the hell's crawling around in there.
Tom Brady crawling around the Boston Harbor.
The real Tom Brady's in the Boston Harbor. The one that's walking around right now is a Skrull.
True.
So subscribe to the YouTube channel, smash the like button, ring the bell icon, comment down below your thoughts on everything we discuss on the episode, your thoughts on Secret Invasion, and be sure to get your merch, phiapparel.co. It's the best in the game. There are awesome merch partners for all of our shows, all the podcasts on our network, and they have the best merch in the game. Plus, StreamerSZN merch is available for you to wear, whether you're going to the movies, hanging out and watching your favorite shows and movies at home, you can get your Streamer Season merch and look the best of the best. Go to phiapparel.co, use code underground, and you get 10% off any and all merch orders. It's the most effective and direct way to support everything we're doing. So go get your merch, phiapparel.co, code underground for 10% off your order. Fellas, it is Secret Invasion, man. Finale time. And we're going to get into the episode. We're going to get into the theories and our overall thoughts on the series, the season, who knows. But Christian, give us that sweet, sweet spoiler warning.
Dear Skrulls and humans, this is your friendly Russian neighborhood spoiler warning. Ahead of this podcast, please pause, go watch this week's finale of Secret Invasion. Please then return, or else we will kill you, and then listen to said podcast and enjoy it, or else. This has been your favorite Russian-sponsored neighborhood spoiler warning.
Beep. There it is. There it is. Great, great finale spoiler warning there. So this episode titled Home, Nick Fury confronts Gravik at New Skrullos, gives him the harvest, or does he? And asks that he spare Earth and conquer other planets. Gravik refuses before using the harvest to empower himself further and attempt to kill Fury. I do have to say, I was watching just some like breakdowns for this episode, and heavy spoilers brought this up. This show thrived when it was person-to-person dialogue.
You don't say.
Because it continued in this episode. That scene with Samuel L. Jackson, air quotes, and Kingsley Ben-Adir was
Air quotes.
Beautiful.
It was. There was some decent dialogue and there's some good acting, but it's a shame that the acting was. I don't want to say wasted because I still got paid for it, but like, I just didn't. The finale for me personally wasn't it. But Kyle, I do agree. Like, I do like the dialogue there, but. Yeah.
I also, Dylan, you and I have talked about this too. I really hope now that, obviously pay the writers, pay the actors, pay everybody a living wage. I hope Bob Iger is going to stay true to his word and realizes that this 6-episode mold for these shows just ain't it. It's too condensed. It rushes everything, and when it feels like you're about to get cooking, it's time to wind the season or series down, and I think that's where most of these shows are missing the mark.
I don't quite agree with that. Because I just kind of think that this season was doing so many different things and it had so many different styles that I feel like if it just tried to stick to one lane, that 6 episodes could have worked.
I don't even think necessarily like just with this show though. Like, I think this show could have benefited from either longer episodes to fill things in more or more episodes involved. But you and I brought this up, Dylan, too, when we found out that the Miss Marvel directors had to stuff everything into 6 episodes because they didn't get guaranteed potential for a second season. Mm-hmm. We said it, during parts of Moon Knight that we wish it could have been longer. Like, it feels like some of these episodes just get cut so short because they have this 6-episode template that they have to abide by. And I feel like it's just like not allowing the writers, it's not allowing the production teams to reach their full capability of creativity with some of these projects.
Yeah, I could see both sides. I think ultimately it's just a ploy from them as a company to, like, they probably know, like, going in, like, how much they're willing to spend on certain projects, and they probably like having the 6-episode mold because it gives them, like, more of a fluid timetable to pump out more content, because Disney has proven that they don't really care necessarily about quality. They rather have quantity at this point, especially the Marvel branch of Disney. That's my personal opinion. Neither of you have to agree with that. But I do think some shows could benefit from having a longer mold. And I do agree with Christian a couple episodes ago. I think in this case, this could have been shortened and been like a movie, or like like a 2 or a 3 like mini series. Like not everything has to be the same length. So I do agree with you in that context. I think everything should be subject.
Like 5 1-hour episodes, just like I don't know, even 4 1-hour episodes, if done right, sounds pretty good to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
I agree. This, I was skeptical of how they were going to stick this episode into the mold of a finale as soon as I clicked on Disney Plus and saw that the runtime was 38 minutes.
That immediately when I saw that
I was so pissed.
I was like, what a letdown. I was like,
especially when they advertised and put out there that these episodes were going to be in the threshold of 45 to 50 minutes per episode. We were like, all right, cool. That's what we expect from something like this. And then for the last tail end, like the second half of the season, to be 35 to 38 minutes on the runtime display, which really checks out to 30 to 35 minutes. That was a major letdown in my opinion.
No, I do think it's never a good sign for any series if your finale is like the second shortest episode. Normally speaking, they're usually like longer. I mean, granted, I'm sure there's someone listening right now that can be like, well, actually, and they can name a show where the finale isn't that long and it probably slaps. But for this case, shortening it did not help your case. It made everything 10 times worse. I mean, it's already been it's been snowballing down, but to have it short did not help their case.
Also found it very interesting that this feels like the first Marvel project ever that there was no post-credit scene.
Yeah. That was interesting. I really didn't like the finale, but I still watched it, obviously. And I fast forward through the credits, and the same thing Kyle just said. I was like, wow. I was like, I'm already annoyed as a fan, and then you're not going to give me a post-credit scene. And I get they can be campy, but this was the kind of show that would make
that's supposed to have one.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Or multiple.
Yeah. So you really drop the ball on two things, like right there, like the episode itself, like right when you start it, and then the very end of it in terms of the end credit scene.
Like
anything in it.
I talked about it a week or two ago about how this could have been a good self-contained thing. They did the self-contained ending, which doesn't work with how you've done the rest of this goddamn show.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. They were starting off one way and then they go back into the other way. It's kind of, it ain't it.
And then for this show to be billed with the tagline of "Who do you trust," which obviously comes from the comics, so that's where that comes from. But in the end, to only have one outside of Everett Ross, who we saw in episode 1, to only have one other who was the most well-known fan casted Skrull of all time be revealed as a Skrull that was of any importance. Everyone else that was revealed as a Skrull was people we saw in the show, throughout the 6 episodes. Now, that could change, obviously, down the line throughout the future because of what transpired from that dickhead of a president that is in office right now.
To me, that was the only cool scene of the show, or the finale. As morbid as it sounds, it was hyper realistic in the sense where he made hate speech. He said something bad, and then it cuts to people just shooting up Skrulls. I mean, I was like,
which happens in the comics.
Or not Skrulls, Dylan.
Yeah, or not Skrulls.
Yeah.
Poor British Prime Minister.
That happens in the comics too for everybody at home who's just oh, why are they just going on a killing spree? Black Widow actually initiates that in the comics. She's like, yeah, I'm just going to go out and kill everybody, and if they bleed purple, then we know they're a Skrull, and if they don't, well, my bad. That's a whole thing. So they pulled that from the comics, just not Black Widow because she gone. But there are some aspects that we'll get to in theory season that I pulled from this episode that I think, Dylan, there's one that you're going to be very intrigued about. But the thoughts on the Super Skrull fight between Gaia and Gravik.
The one part of my brain that's all nerd, know nothing, was like cool to see all the heroes. But at the same time, I didn't like the Ben 10 aspect of just randomly switching to Avengers DNA. It's just kind of like, I was like, like I don't know. I feel like me personally, I would have liked it if they were like one person at a time, or if they like stayed in their alien or their human moniker and then like had a power. So like, for example, if I had Captain America or any of like the humanoid people, like there's no reason for them to morph, or even like some of the stronger ones. Like I saw a Korg. Like Korg's just a rock, so like I get it for like,
Hey, Thor.
but I don't know. It just kind of felt. I mean, it was cool for a little bit, but then it was kind of like too much at the same time.
So there are confirmed 23 character DNAs in the Harvest that were flashed on that screen. There are.
I imagine that.
What's that?
I thought I saw Ghost Rider when I was watching it, but I think
so. It did say Ghost, which
okay.
obviously is the Ant-Man 2 villain. But with that, and there's a couple others as well, including Abomination, they were not in the Battle of Earth, which is where these were allegedly scooped up from. So that part is kind of confusing to me, is like, why were those characters in the Harvest?
I think
that's from the Battle of Earth. I do have the list here. So Ghost was involved, Captain America, Corvus Glaive, who is one of the children of Thanos, Thanos himself, the Outriders, which are those like Demogorgon-looking things that were trying to break through in Wakanda, Proxima Midnight, one of the other children of Thanos, Captain Marvel, who we obviously saw those powers on display, Abomination, Mantis, who we saw on display. I did like that aspect of Mantis being used during that fight. I thought that was pretty cool little trick up the sleeve. Cull Obsidian, who we knew from the second episode when that was in the database. Drax, who we saw Emilia Clarke's arm transform into Drax, and she looked like Morty in that episode of Rick and Morty with one big arm and one not big arm. Korg, Ebony Maw, the Frost Beast, Hulk, the Chitauri, Valkyrie, Thor, Gamora, Flora Colossus, aka Groot, and the Winter Soldier. Now, what I pull from there as well, Winter Soldier being involved, Ghost, and to an extent, Abomination. Those are all confirmed or what we will believe to be members of the Thunderbolts.
True, it does seem like an Easter egg to set up something, but at the same time, and I know Christian's going to touch on this at some point, it just makes it sloppy, like the interjecting things that mess up the timeline, like even more. And I get it, comic books do that, but comic books are also like, it's a book, it's an art panel, it's easier to, I'm not knocking comics to movies, I'm just saying it's physically easier to just do that kind of stuff. And movie and TV shows, you kind of have to follow a pattern. Imagine if someone randomly said, oh wait, we never released Harry Potter 4.5. Like, no, you can't just,
it threw me off seeing Ghost involved, seeing Abomination involved. It's like they weren't there as far as we know. Like, obviously we didn't see everybody there, but we saw 90% of the people involved in the Battle of Earth. We got at least one bit of screen time of them during Endgame. Also, for a split second when Emilia Clarke went invisible, I was like, Fantastic Four? Are we hinting at this? And then saw that it was Ghost, and I was like,
You thought.
The phone call was obviously to Gaia, unfortunately.
Yeah, which
we saw coming, but
well, I don't think we said it during our pod because we all had more fun ideas,
exciting ideas.
I think we came to a conclusion that's like they're probably gonna make it Gaia, but after we said all of our answers.
No, I think we came to the conclusion of Gravik. And
maybe.
But like we thought they would do a boring choice. And like Gaia's not a boring choice, but it's like not one of the uber fun choices either. It's somewhere in the middle.
We also should have seen that coming a mile away
Yeah,
after
exactly.
Skaya said, "Oh, I'll put on a fun face" or something that she said when Fury was leaving that building.
Like as soon as it was revealed to be her, it made all the sense in the world, and I instantly thought, we're stupid for not bringing it up.
Also, the triple agent playing of Fallsworth calling Rhodey and Scrody being an absolute doofus, not checking behind the door, believing her, and Scrody, she gone.
Bah.
She had it coming, man. She didn't check behind the door.
Now, with that happening, I saw a lot of people online complaining about the timeline in which Rhodey was abducted and replaced.
So
this
is where I'm gonna fucking rant.
I have my tinfoil. I'm here to let you guys know. Rhodey was Rhodey all through the Infinity Saga.
Then why the fuck's he wearing a hospital gown?
I'm here to let everybody know I was doing some research because a lot of people were bringing up the Tony Stark funeral scene and everything, and Eric Voss brought up a very interesting point in that scene where Don Cheadle and Jon Favreau's character like say something to each other, and people were like speculating, like trying to lip read and everything. But if you watch that scene back, Don Cheadle has the leg braces on in that scene. Now, we know ever since he got shot down by Vision in Civil War and got paralyzed, couldn't walk, he's had the leg braces all through then. When you go back and look in the scene from Falcon and Winter Soldier, when they're in the museum, there are no leg braces on Rhodey. So from at least that point, something happened in between Tony Stark's funeral and the scene in the museum of Falcon and Winter Soldier to where Rhodey got replaced.
See, I just fundamentally don't like how we have to actually question this. Like they literally just could have put him in a suit and we wouldn't be having this conversation. But no, they put him in a hospital gown and we're like pointing towards the end of Civil War, and it's like I can't tell if you if you decided to like ruin an entire character, like an entire character's worth of work you've done over the last 7 years or not, because that's a bad sign of storytelling, in my opinion, and how we're just like Rhodey in a hospital gown. This, and then the people are like, no, and it's like, we won't know unless the people tell us, and it's like, I don't like that, specifically with a character as significant as Rhodey. I'm like, why?
Which
it's lazy. I don't like it.
Which I get where you're coming from that, but I am fully on the record on the table. Rhodey got replaced after Endgame.
I mean,
that's when it happened, because I think the leg brace is the key. Because in every project from when he got paralyzed and shot down, we all know that if you're a Skrull and you get murked, you revert to your Skrull form.
Well, no, but Kyle, I get what you're saying, but the swap theoretically would have occurred when he was in the hospital post that accident.
Sure. But if that accident would have happened, like, if he were a Skrull then, I saw people talking about it, like, he's been a Skrull since Civil War. Like, if it would have happened then, he would have reverted to a Skrull when he got shot down by Vision.
Yeah, that's true.
And
but
then...
could he have been a Skrull right after, and then the Skrull could have just put on hospital braces to look the part?
See, that's the part where I don't think the Skrull is that smart.
But Kyle, see, this is what Dylan just brought up is exactly why I don't like this. Like if it was some minor character, sure, but like Rhodey's from even though he was a different actor, since the first Iron Man film, like Rhodey's been a core character to the MCU for its entire time, and we're here just like, oh, was he actually a Skrull during like some of the most culminating parts of of this entire franchise? And I don't fundamentally like them jerking us around like that, because if it is true, then that's just horrific on their part. If it isn't true, tell us, and we won't be dragging you through the fucking dirt. Like, make.
I'm fully putting it out there. Rhodey got replaced after. Because, like, just thinking in real human terms, he's still got leg braces, but he's probably still going to physical therapy to fix himself. He's probably in a hospital at some point. Got switched out. Because
that does make most sense. I'm like in the
that's
middle.
where I'm at with it. Like everybody that's online, Rhodey was a Skrull during these key moments, and like they're tweeting out clips from like Infinity War and Endgame with Rhodey, and it's like this scene is so much worse, or this scene makes much more sense now, and it's like, guys, it's not the case. I'm letting you know from person to person, like Skrull to Skrull.
What you were saying fundamentally makes sense. It's just more of a thing where it's kind of like we can kind of like tangibly point towards like, oh, Everett Ross got kidnapped here, and to be fair, I did not try to cross reference the clothing he was wearing with the end of Black
either.
With the end of Black Panther. But like, we can make a clear case there. The problem is, there's so much timeline at this point with at this point with Rhodey, and he's such a supporting character that comes in and out and has big moments and small moments, that not knowing not being able to like tangibly concrete say like, oh, it probably happened at this point. I don't like that.
And I'm going to tell you why it's like that. I'm not saying why I agree with it, because I think some of these Disney Plus shows are falling victim to this and they need to stop doing it. At the end of the day, when we've gone through all 6 episodes of Secret Invasion, and some of these other shows too, they have just been a vehicle to get us to a sequel or something, like the next project, and I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah,
we've experienced that with Miss Marvel, we've experienced that with She-Hulk, we experienced it now with Secret Invasion, even Book of Boba Fett. Don't use a show as a vehicle to just like get to your next project. Let it tell a story. I guarantee they haven't told us this yet, and even though we don't have a release date or any details outside of he's the starring role, they're going to get into that in Armor Wars.
Yeah, but...
And I'm not saying I like that or agree with it. I'm just giving you the perspective of that's what they're doing.
I'll say my 2 cents really quick. You guys both echoed both spots in my brain.
Echo.
Yeah, that was done on purpose. Sorry, Christian. I was gonna just no. It kind of goes to a different aspect, but kind of both. So I just feel like no one would care on either side of what you're saying if they actually introduced more than one character change. Like, I feel like if you had several reveals, like going what Christian said, like do several minor or like one sub-minor character, like a little less important than Rhodey and a couple like nobodies. But the fact that you only had one reveal and it was a character that has the most emotional connection besides Pepper Potts to, like, you know, Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr., who's like the most notable comic book / MCU movie character, to just kind of throw that away. I get it. The whole like Skrulls can be anybody, but because it was so predictable, like Kyle was saying earlier, and we all saw it coming, and he was the only reveal, it's just flat out lazy in my regard.
And it was the only front-facing reveal, because obviously later on in the episode, we go into an even deeper chamber, and we see all of these humans all zip-locked and zip-tied up in those plastic-looking, brain-eating things that are also Skrull replacements.
I feel like that's just going to go down as like one of those throwaway like end credit cameo scenes that like certain movies have done. Like I feel like unless they want to double back, which I don't think they will because of how
No, they won't.
It's just going to end up, like.
Well, that was a big ass room. So just for what we have right now, like who knows who the fuck was in there outside of whoever that young kid was that they showed his face. Like, and then they go into that montage scene that Dylan absolutely enjoyed, and I think a lot of people enjoyed, just marking off who was Skrull, who wasn't, and that was like what we thought the whole premise of the show. Not that it was going to be that like gory and just like flat out kill spree, but that was like, okay, we can't trust this person. Bop, done, and then it's like, oh, they weren't a Skrull.
Yeah, that goes way back to episode 1. That plays on what they were trying to do and how Christian laid it out for us early on. He said they were trying to do good things, and we'll stay tuned and see where they go. And it got progressively worse. But that little aspect is what the paranormal thriller is supposed to be like. Like, oh, I can't trust this. Like, I just learned my president or my governor or whatever of my country has been an alien the whole time. I'm gonna go, blop. But like, it's crazy, but like that makes sense, and that's kind of it's a scary concept to think about. But the rest of the finale was just like me.
I think we should kind of jump to a different talking point now. Because there's one specific thing I texted Dylan about is how the fuck do you stop Gaia now?
You don't.
Don't. She's definitely part of MI6, which is why I say this might be season 1 of Secret Invasion. It could be like
season 2. Fuck off.
No, I'm saying it more in the sense of you'll like the way I'm going though. It's like a WandaVision.
Do the way we're going.
It's like a WandaVision, Agatha, Coven of Chaos type thing, but it's more Fallsworth, MI6, that type of thing. Moving forward,
right. Here's what I'd love to see: grab Mahershala Ali, grab
Oscar Isaac, grab Charlie Cox,
mix in all of the Black Suns guys, have a lot of Olivia Colman. You make it very British. Like, I don't know, have
Carter
like
from What If,
grab like Phoebe Waller-Bridge to be involved in some way, and it could be a fun show. But I don't think Marvel's smart enough to do that, right?
Well, if they give us a show with Emilia Clarke and Olivia Colman, I'm there.
I mean, Olivia Colman did kill it with her role, and I think
she was the best part of the entire fucking show.
Yeah, she tries to get another chance. We'll see.
Are you ready for my next theory?
Oh, dear God.
So, I saw this.
It's like Christian saying, "Oh dear God."
It's a positive, and I think Dylan will like this because Dylan, is it true that you're a huge X-Men fan?
Yes, I like X-Men arguably more than I like the Avengers.
I think we got our next breadcrumb trail of X-Men coming into the MCU with this show.
Interesting. That could be
You
a
tell.
lot.
So the Super Skrull machine, when the harvest gets put in, and Emilia Clarke as Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury, and Kingsley Benadir are in there. The way that and then the like big ass chamber thing with how that was operating looked just like how the machine in the one X-Men movie, I'm blanking on which one it was because it's been forever since I've watched them, but like thing.
Which one? Like early
like
X?
Cerebro, I think. Like
okay.
with what's his face as Professor X.
Okay, I was gonna say, is it Patrick Stewart or
Patrick Stewart.
Okay, so one of the older ones.
The giant like orb Cerebro that like boom looks very similar in how it operates. We also get Amelia Clark getting all these mutations, if you will, to herself with the harvest. Not saying she's a mutant, but they could categorize her as that because she has different aliens in her now. I think that is potentially playing into that, along with the hate speech presidential decree from Ritson that any off-world being is set to be Liam Neeson in Taken. They will find you and they will kill you.
Goodbye, Thor.
Exactly. Thor, the Guardians of the Galaxy, Captain Marvel, and that includes any mutants because they are technically, in that breakdown, not human. Very, very Wanda No More Mutants-esque in House of M. I think that it's an underlying like kind of Easter egg, but I feel like it was kind of a nice little nod to the X-Men and the mutants. And obviously we're getting Wolverine in Deadpool 3. Miss Marvel and Namor already confirmed as mutants in the MCU. I think this could be a next step towards unlocking the X gene in a lot of potential mutants we get in the MCU.
Yeah, I think mutants make sense. I think another thing, my only theory is I think they're setting up for the comic book character Sentry to finally make his appearance. I just feel like with the whole DNA thing, that opens a can of worms, both good and bad. And I think with the Thunderbolts, like you were saying, the X-Men, like, that all kind of ties in hand. So I think, I mean, now with the whole scooping up of people's DNAs randomly in the Marvel Universe, you can essentially make, not anyone, but, you can probably take 100 people, put them in that chamber, and at least one or two might come out with some powers, So my point is you can pretty much just make super soldiers now, superheroes.
It's also very interesting that at the end of this episode, the Kree are allegedly ready to broker off a peace treaty with the Skrulls as we're getting set for the Marvels as the next Marvel project, where a Kree leader is trying to kill Captain Marvel. And we know Skrulls are rocking out with her, and Skrulls are rocking out in Saber. Did that seem a little fishy? And a little, just random?
Yeah, I think it's meant to seem fishy. It's meant to create a level of distrust and skepticism. And there probably isn't an alliance. Maybe there is, and they're just kind of teasing you. But no, it definitely seems like it's not legit.
How much of the Marvel's trailer dropping when it did that flub up this finale?
I don't know if it really affected it one way or the other. I just think
in the sense of the Gaia reveal, because I feel like if we didn't know Nick Fury made it out alive in this show, because we obviously knew that from the Marvel's trailer, it would have been a little bit more built up, oh shit, there goes the pills. Nick Fury looks like he's about to die. And then, boom, here's the reveal. And then Nick Fury comes through in the hospital and bang, bang, kills Scrody and all that kind of stuff. I'm not saying it was a huge elevation, but it was weird timing for them to just be like, hey, we have a show about Nick Fury, about who do you trust and all this kind of stuff. But he's going to make it to the next project.
Well, that's a whole other rant for me. That's just on certain companies being able to actually, produce trailers in a way in which they don't give fucking things away about their movie or TV show. How many times have you seriously watched a trailer where you feel like I watched the whole movie or a whole TV show? I know we've all felt that. I hate that when that gets revealed. I'm sure it's harder than one would think. I can't just go there and magically do it myself. But for real, seriously, it's another conversation. But I hate when that gets botched. But no, so I think it does affect it. But I just think, for me personally, I just think each episode got a little more discombobulated, and I just feel like that's why it lost steam. I know critically and wasn't doing the best. I know audience-wise, viewership, I know this wasn't doing the best either in terms of Marvel shows.
Yeah, our boy Pat Pitts just sent me Culture Crave, put out the Rotten Tomatoes scores for the entire season. Episode 6 is currently the lowest rated MCU episode ever with a 13%.
That feels a little harsh.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's that low,
No.
but the season went 52%, 50%, 38%, 38%, 50%, 13%.
That's fair though. I think if you take, because Christian and I have notoriously not been as kind to it. I think we said episodes 1 and 5 were the only ones that kind of tried. But yeah, that's pretty accurate with the Rotten Tomatoes score.
Christian, you said you had a rant?
Well, no, it was kind of just a bunch of stuff we've already touched on.
Yeah.
But I just have 2 talking points. Like, we're really ending this series with in the same way we started it, with Fury going back to space.
Which we knew.
Yeah.
Really? Really?
And
Really?
no, to go even further on your point, dude, it's literally rinse and repeat. They left, presumably, well, I'm assuming someone grabbed it. They left the dead body, an alien dead body, full of a bunch of DNA. So it's history's going to repeat itself. Like you said, he goes to space. Someone's going to go scoop up Gravik's body and then rinse and repeat.
And then to that
Fucking
point,
hate it.
because we saw Amelia Clark in this instance, where episode leaves off with us presuming she's dead, and then the next episode shows her getting revived with Extremis DNA. Is Gravik really dead?
I guess we'll never know.
I'm going to think he would be, because he had an entire hole lasered in the center of his chest. It's not like a gunshot.
Right. I agree. Like, I totally see that. But, like, we've been left with that as an ending to an episode, to then the next episode, boom, here's Extremis DNA. Like, can the Extremis revive a Captain Marvel blast to the gut? Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z.
I guess really my only other thing then is, so how are we getting President Ross? Even if we even are getting President Ross? I
did like that line of that's some real one-term president speak to me. That was fun. I gotta assume in one of these upcoming projects, because he's got this whole hate speech vigilante war now going on, somebody's gonna kill him thinking that he's a Skrull.
Yeah, it's
he's not gonna live much longer. His life is definitely doomed in that capacity.
It's just kind of like it's. This series just leaves me so frustrated, because it has its moments, but it never fully decides to be what it could be at its best.
Another example of, just because you have some good acting sprinkled across some good actors, just because bad writing and just laziness can't outdo that. Because they had a budget too. You know, they spent money, they got some talent, they killed some said talent off. Some talent didn't really have a chance to shine, and then we got what we got.
I think this series for sure made me like really want to question the 6-episode cookie cutter template that they've been running with, and I hope we get proven wrong at some point. And apparently, I saw today, because Daredevil Born Again is going to be 18 episodes, but apparently they're doing it as like a part 1, part 2, so there's going to be like a break in between the episodes, but it's all still like one season. We'll see how that plays out, because the only other shows we've gotten that were longer than 6 episodes with Disney Plus Marvel content was WandaVision off the rip, which is still highly regarded as one of the best Marvel shows that they've done. And we discussed this last week. It's because it's an already established character/characters. And then She-Hulk, which gives you the other side of things, where it's a non-established character, and a lot of it fell flat because you shouldn't be introducing new characters in TV. You got to put them on the big screen. We all were in the preseason predictions of this show being, we were hopeful for the 8s. For episode 6, though, we'll start before we get to the full season. Dylan, your score for the finale of Secret Invasion.
Dude, What's the lowest score I've ever given? Because this might be close. I don't know.
It's a great question.
I don't know. I'm gonna give it like a 5.5. I just feel like it wasn't good. I just feel like I wouldn't recommend what I watched. I felt like the Rhodey reveal was just anticlimactic, and it also kind of retcons 7 years of MCU ? The lack of other reveals, the lack of you created a literal like super being and guy, which is cool. I mean, good for her. Good for Clark to get that role. But like Christian said, how do you beat that? Like you have to call in like the Hawk, Sentry, Iron Man. Well, oops, not Iron Man. But my point is,
Whoops.
yeah, you have to call in like Thor to take her down, and like to that point, and nuke her. I don't know. It just, and then I know it happens in movies and Marvel, but another show that ends with the villain dying, which I'm not necessarily always against. But my point is, it just checks off a bunch of things I didn't like, and I'm gonna have to give it a 5.5. I just didn't like it.
I want to just go a step lower and say 5.4 because even though this had moments, it just doesn't live up to any of the promise of what.
And just to be clear, this is your scores for episode
Yes.
6.
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna give episode 6 the number of the beast. It's episode 6. I'm gonna give it a 6.6.
That's one of the lowest scores I've ever heard you give too. So that's how I know Kyle doesn't like some.
So 5.5 plus 5.4 plus 6.6 equals that divided by 3 gives the old finale a 5.8 out of 10. A very much has its moments, but falls short in a lot of aspects score.
Yeah.
So Christian, I'll start with you. Your overall score for Secret Invasion.
God.
I always have trouble with this too. Like a 5 would be too low, obviously.
Yeah. I'm gonna go 5.5.
Yeah.
Just because it's like the first episode gave me hope, and then it just drowns any of that hope out in the most marvelous way. I can't justify calling it anything more than average entertainment. Like it gets the bump because of the first episode, but I'm not happy for doing it like that.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna give it a go. I'll be a little more generous. I'll hold the first episode and the scene of people getting murked in the last episode a little higher, and I'll give it a 6 overall. I still don't think that's good, but I know Kyle's good at math and do some averages anyway, so I'll help it out a little bit in the average department. Give it a 6 overall.
I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna give it a nice score of 6.9.
So it's gonna math to like, yeah, it's not terrible. 6.7.
So we do a little math here. It's a 6.1 out of 10 for the final score of Secret Invasion from the boys.
Which is still not a good score, Marvel, if you're listening.
Might be our overall lowest Marvel rated show.
Good.
That's on a scale of 3 of us, and some of them was Dylan and I. So
it should be.
Yeah, it had moments. It did things that were fun, and then there was just a lot that was just like, okay. Like the guy from Vine.
Okay.
So yeah, Secret Invasion. We'll see what happens in the MCU moving forward, but we are off the MCU now until November, which is kind of crazy.
It is crazy, but maybe they'll actually use that time wisely. Marvel.
Which brings us to what do we have next? And it's brought to you by our friends over at Tomahawk Shades, the best small batch eyewear in the game. They now have an app, guys. You can download the app in the App Store or Google Play. And when you download the app and open up the app, you can claim a free pair of sunglasses. Who doesn't like free? Go to tomahawkshades.com as well, or in the app, you can peruse their entire collection of sunglasses, blue light glasses, prescription lenses. And when you go to checkout, use promo code USP for 25% off your order at tomahawkshades.com. That's promo code USP for 25% off at tomahawkshades.com. Next on the docket for us, we still have to finish Ted Lasso with Season 3.
Yes, sir.
So that will be obviously on the list. I still have to get to the theater to watch Barbie and Oppenheimer, so that will come eventually. I'm happy to report our good friend Stephen McAvoy, the co-host of the Getting the Whole podcast, survived his double feature.
Congrats.
Did not get to bed until 3 a.m.
Oh, Christ.
A tough go, but he survived. Christian and I were talking before you popped in, Dylan, a couple shows that are available to us. I have never done The Boys at all.
Oh, that's a good show.
That's on the table. Invincible Season 1 is also on the table. Season 2 comes out in November.
No voice acting.
Because we don't have another week-by-week show until the end of August with Ahsoka.
In which that's going to be a show for you two boys.
Ahsoka?
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured you wouldn't watch that.
I really enjoy Andor and stuff, but I went through and finally watched the sequel trilogy.
Yeah, I don't know why you do that to yourself.
So I think The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi are like pretty solid films. But I just don't care. Like, the films just don't make me care. Star Wars as an entity just doesn't make me care about the story enough. So when it does something like Andor, I'm like, sure, but every time we return to the Jedi, I'm like, okay.
Which is a damn shame. I always bring this up, Christian. I'm not sure if you ever heard my rant about it. I'm not going to rant.
I probably have at this point.
I'm saying, in short, I agree with you. Like, a universe as vast as Star Wars, I shouldn't have to hear someone who just expressed they are casually a fan. It's not like you hate the thing. You can't be interested by half their stuff, you know? Like, it's a disservice when you literally have anything at your fingertips and someone like you who watches and frequents movies and television is like, meh. Like, you know what I mean? It's just nuts to think about.
It do be how it do be.
Trying to think of some other stuff that we could put into a poll, too. So I think The Boys is there. I think Invincible Season 1.
There's a couple good shows on Amazon.
Also, I don't know if you guys saw the theory that Spider-Man might pop up in Invincible Season 2.
That did happen in a comic book. So.
Yeah. And because now Amazon has the rights to some of the Spider-Man shows that are coming out, could be a crossover event.
Could happen.
It's fine.
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
I'm trying to think of some other stuff. But we'll conjure up a poll of at least 4 items to put out for the people and get a fan vote out there for what we potentially have next. But those 2 are for sure on the list.
Sure.
The Barbenheimer stuff will come. But that's what we have to look forward to right now until Ahsoka season at the end of August. Which then I guess brings us to everybody's favorite segment. It is the streaming platform Multiverse News and Notes, brought to you by our awesome beer partners over at Kenwood Beer, the official beer partner of Underground Sports Philadelphia. You guys can go to kenwoodbeer.com, and use the Kenny trackers. Who's got Kenwood beer on tap in the Philadelphia or Pittsburgh areas? Got to be 21 or older to do so, and of course, please drink responsibly.
Pittsburgh.
I kick things off, obviously, with the.
But hold on, Pat Pittsburgh?
Wait, what?
No. Dylan was saying Pittsburgh, and I said Pat Pittsburgh.
Oh, got it now. Got it.
It's okay.
That's a product of getting old, guys.
I'm an old man. I'm Kyle Bennett.
Yep, that's me. How you doing, kids?
I remember when the Phillies were.
Oh.
I remember when the Phillies had a bullpen and a pitching staff.
Yeah, they still do.
I remember when they had the 5 aces.
Yeah, good times. Good times. I kick things off, obviously, with the crossover potential for
Spider-Man
and Invincible.
I got you there, Cap.
The next thing on here, Christian said we should bring it up, is we will always call it Twitter. We're not going to do the dumb shit, but
Did it officially?
good grief. On desktop it has.
Oh,
It's
okay.
still twitter.com, but there's just that dumbass looking Live
X.
Golf X
Did you
logo.
tried changing something else earlier on in his tech mongrel life.
Yeah, PayPal.
PayPal. And he got denied, right? He got kicked off
Yeah,
the
they
board.
got fired.
Yeah. They were like, no. And then I guess many years later, he was like, I'm going to do it again.
I'm gonna do it again.
This is further proof that Elon Musk is just a real life James Bond villain. Just wait. He's going to do some more stuff.
It's also very hilarious that Meta holds the X trademark for online social networking services.
It is truly like, aha.
So stupid. And then Google owns it for something else. Or Microsoft owns it for something else. It's very, very funny.
It's so unoriginal. which is the funniest part of Elon going esque. It's like that. Really? Like, so you guys have seen you've seen the social network, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Someone took the Justin Timberlake thing and said and changed it to be keep the X. It sounds dumber.
That's funny.
I'm like, golf clap for you, sir.
I'm ready to piss all of us off here. Netflix has listed an AI product manager role for $900,000 a year.
That was 90%.
No, $900K. 87% of actors earn under $26,000.
I gotta unapply for something real quick. No, I'm kidding.
Christopher Nolan's team used a combination of gasoline, propane, black powder, aluminum powder, and magnesium flares to recreate the Trinity test in Oppenheimer. No CGI.
Nice. Gentlemen, at 10:40 a.m. tomorrow morning, I will be seeing it in 70mm IMAX.
I tried. They're all sold out. The King of Prussia one. I can't get.
Yeah, because you had to buy tickets.
No, I know. I meant like I bought tickets before for the IMAX, and I was trying to go see it a second time. And
oh yeah. Like so, yeah. But speaking of the movie that will probably take the IMAX screens from it, unjustly, I might add. Have y'all seen the Blue Beetle projections?
yeah, it's like 50 million, right, for the entire gross.
Its current projected domestic run is projected to be between 27 and 55 million.
Oh.
Which, honestly, can't say I didn't see it coming.
What's the budget?
But even that's just bad. Even that's just like so bad.
To have an over
Because
$100 budget.
oh yeah, it had like $125 million budget.
So it's
And
gonna
like
try and hope that some random country likes it.
like here's
But
here's the thing, like if you look at this cast, like it has the kid from Cobra Kai. Sure, that's not enough to draw. And so you are looking at this cast and you go, who are people going to be interested in? Oh, George Lopez playing the guy's uncle and Susan Sarandon playing the villain. People my age don't know who Susan Sarandon is. Kyle, do you know who Susan Sarandon is?
I know the name.
Have you seen the Rocky Horror Picture Show?
Yes.
Have you seen Bull Durham?
Yes.
Congrats. You have watched 2 Susan Sarandon movies. Have you watched Thelma and Louise? All of that went to you. You've seen 3 Susan Sarandon movies.
I'm feeling very attacked for my age.
Well,
this is coming off as ageist.
no,
And I don't like it.
Well, hold on. This two for like I'm like at least 5 years younger than the both of you.
I'm only 27.
Okay, no, 3. I'm 3 for you, Dylan.
I'm 29 for 3 more months.
Cheers, mate.
Again,
Get drunk,
ageist.
Kyle turns 30. Get drunk, Kyle turns 30 party. USB party, baby. Let's do it.
DJ said that that's the year that we have to celebrate everybody.
Kyle made it to 30. Let's go and get fucking wasted in Philly.
Jeez, this episode is
but it's kind of just like for people around my age block, like kind of like late 90s and late 90s and younger, well, like late 90s to like 2001 or 2002, like we know who George Lopez is in bulk because of the what was it, the George Lopez show? I forget the exact name of it, but
it came on every morning at 2 a.m. and I couldn't
yeah, exactly. But we don't have attachment to Susan Sarandon because she's kind of like a relic of a greater era of film.
It's a good way to put that. She's old.
No. Like so, like here, like here,
I'm just kidding.
for the people who have watched the National Treasure films. Well, sorry, not National Treasure films. National Treasure series. There's more familiarity with Catherine Zeta-Jones.
I didn't know she's in that.
Well, that's just not enough people watch that damn series. Which I'm heavily mixed on that series to begin with, but it's kind of just like right now they're putting all of these, like right now they're trying to do the female villain thing in a lot of superhero films. The issue is they're casting these older actresses who the younger generation has no level of association to, which like these are great actors, but the problem is like even if Thor Love and Thunder doesn't work, people see Christian Bale and they go, you are a very good actor. You have played Batman. You have done all these things. Who can we point to for females that for actresses where we cast them as a villain and we go, aha, you are part of the reason I'm coming to see this film. Like it's a very small list. It's smaller than it should be because it's like what? It's like Kate Blanchett, and even then Kate Blanchett's more of a artsy thing. You have Margot Robbie being an anti-hero. You have ScarJo, but everyone's going to everyone of a certain age is going to continually associate her with Black Widow over her better roles.
Yeah.
And you're just looking at it and you're like, there really isn't a signature female villain you could point to, like someone who plays villains, except like Kate Blanchett, because you have Temple of Doom, right? Temple of Doom? No. Crystal Skull, pardon.
Yeah.
You have her in Crystal Skull. You have her in Tar this past year. She takes big swings and stuff like that. But outside of that, it's like, what? Are you casting Anya Taylor-Joy? Marvel can't unless they want to try and just completely ignore that New Mutants ever happened. Which I'm sure they would love to try and do.
Outside of Black Bolt.
Trying to.
Yeah.
Last couple things, just because we gotta wrap here. Shout out to The Rock. He's given a historic 7-figure donation to SAG-AFTRA. Quote, "It's the largest single donation that we've ever received from one individual at one time."
Good job, Dwayne.
Thomas Hayden Church says he's heard rumors that Sam Raimi and Tobey Maguire are going to make Spider-Man 4.
Do it, cowards.
Happens, I would
do it,
probably
cowards.
to maybe at least do a cameo. He
Do
says.
See, if they do that, all I ask is that they acknowledge that No Way Home happened. Just acknowledge No Way Home happened, and then like
Bully McGuire.
that would be a lot of fun. that would be a lot of fun. I will fully admit that. But
yeah, I would like it. George R. R. Martin says House of the Dragon Season 2 is halfway done filming.
Yeah, it's because the chat AI wrote it for him. Did you see that?
No.
Someone like said like they got the chat. What was it, the GPT, whatever it's called? I forget. I have it downloaded. They got
Chat GPT, boy.
Yeah, they got it. They got it to finish this book.
Voice recording for Invincible Season 3 is already complete.
Good.
J.K. Simmons will voice Omni-Man in Mortal Kombat 1.
Yeah, that show needs to hurry up because they're doing that thing where they might wait too long. People are gonna forget about it, and they won't.
They won't forget about it if they listen
Surely
to the
they
show.
won't.
Last bit here. If there's anything. Oh, happy belated this past week. 68th birthday to one of our goats, Willem Dafoe.
Ugh. Aging pretty well, William. Almost 70. Looks good.
So that's all we've got here for this episode of Streamer Season. Make sure you guys are following us at StreamerSZN on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads, and Streamer Season Pod on TikTok. Follow Christian on Twitter at @thewiz_PHI. Follow Dylan at Dylan Mazzola. Follow me at KBIZZL311. Subscribe to the podcast feed, Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. Dylan, say that line for the people.
The line is wherever you get those podcasts, whether the streaming services or YouTube, in the comment section, or let us know what we are to watch next. We have them all. Please let us know.
And, of course, subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, youtube.com/@UndergroundSportsPhiladelphia. We are currently at 518 subscribers. Need to get 600 before the end of August, and hopefully 1,000. Otherwise, DJ's moving to Alaska by September 4th. So go subscribe, be a friend, tell a friend. And this has been another edition of Streamer Season, exclusive streaming platform, TV and movie podcast on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network. For Christian, for Dylan, KB, we're going to go avoid some Super Skrulls while we figure out what we're going to do next. Till then, we're getting the heck up out of here. Peace.